go. Let's clap it up. Let's clap it up because what a performance by your Houston Texans. Backs against the wall, coming off an awful loss to the Cleveland Browns. And, hey, our guys did it. Our guys did it. They were able to pull off the victory up against the Tennessee Titans at home to help them into a possible playoff spot when it came to Week 18. If you thought I was going to be saying that after Week 17 at the beginning of the year, you're either, a future teller or you're lying. One of the two, because the Texans, nobody thought they would be in this spot at the beginning of the year, and look at us. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? As we look at this game between the Texans and the Titans, the Texans winning 26-3, basically dominating the entire game at every single standpoint, offense, defense, special teams, every facet of the game, the Texans, they were one step ahead of the Tennessee Titans in today's matchup. And, the only really downside that I would say is the Texans maybe settled for too many field goals. The score honestly could have been much, much worse if the Texans were able to finish off a lot of their drives. But, just having C.J. Stroud, even though he didn't play, just having Tank Dell on the sidelines really, really brought a spark to this team, really brought an energy that you could just see on the field. It's one of those things where it's like numbers can't quantify what C.J. Stroud and Tank Dell meant to this squad, to everybody on the sidelines. But if you were watching this game, if you watched any part of this game, you noticed a difference in this Texans team from this week to last week. So I just got to say, I'm so proud of this team after an awful loss last week and just an embarrassing showing against the Browns where they let Amari Cooper just run all over them like it was 8th grade, backyard recess ball. This week, they bowed up, and they really showed what they had. So if you agree, if you're proud of this team, go down and like the video to show some love to this Texans team. I know a lot of these people watch the videos. A lot of these guys watch the videos. So go down and like the video and show this team a little bit of love. Now, I know we got a little bit of an error right here. It is 26-3. My bad on that. We were just trying to rush things, get everything going for our post game. But C.J. Stroud, oh, look at that. Producer Trace, 2 claps for Trace. There we go. C.J. Stroud, coming off a couple games missed, he actually was able to, show a little bit of what he had. And even though the numbers aren't like eye-popping, he did what he had to do to get the dub today. 24 of 32, 213 yards, a touchdown. More importantly, no interception for C.J. Stroud. Like I said, the only gripe that I had with the Texans offense is that I kind of wish that they were able to finish off some of these drives, even though it was nice seeing Kaimi Fairbairn kick a ton of field goals and just not have to worry about your kicker for once. Having him back is really a sigh of relief for all Texans fans. As we look at the top receivers for the Texans today, Nico Collins, the number one target, this guy's going to be getting paid in the near future. If it wasn't for injuries with Nico Collins, I really think, a lot more teams might consider bringing this guy in for a high-level contract. Hopefully, the Texans are able to re-sign him when his contract is up. Robert Woods, we'll get to him a little bit later, but, dealing with injuries himself. And Brevin Jordan, nice touchdown catch by him. And then, obviously, on the other side of the football, Will Levis got hurt in this game, could not return, so insert Ryan Tannehill right here, 16-20, 168 yards. But, a lot of this was in garbage time where the Texans had a lot of, the game already sealed. As we look at their leading receivers, DeAndre Hopkins, 7 receptions, 72 yards. Chigo Okonkwo, 3 receptions, 34 yards. And Chris Moore, 1 reception for 32 yards. The Texans defense really stepping up after an awful showing last week. I said it, people who needed to step up, one of the top ones was the Texans secondary, and they showed me a little something today. Now, if you want nonstop Texans videos all year long, for free, go down and hit that sub button right now. We're bringing you Texans news and rumors all year long, the latest, greatest around the Texans. We are the number one channel for everything Houston Texans on YouTube. We're the fastest growing channel. Bet your bottom dollar about that. So go down and hit that sub button. Go to youtube.com/TexansTV for more Texans news and rumors videos. And we'll get to more about the AFC playoff race, playoff implications going into next week. But first, I have to show some love to our sponsors over at Prize Picks. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. And if you're watching this Obviously, tomorrow, the biggest thing going on is the college football playoff, and I just put together a little prize picks for that. Michael Penix, being from Texas, I want Texas to win. I'm going less on Michael Penix on 307.5 pass yards. Jalen Milroe, I think this was a pretty, favorable line for him. I'm going more on 205.5 pass yards for Milroe. And Adonai Mitchell, he has been one of the top targets alongside Xavier Worthy. A lot of first-round buzz for Adonai Mitchell. I'm going more than 0.5 rushing and receiving touchdowns. You can use my picks, fade my picks. Just do it at Prize Picks. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS. Code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. Prize Picks is daily fantasy sports made easy, folks. So get started today and don't miss a moment. Now, like I said, Robert Woods was one of the guys in today's game that did suffer an injury, but I wonder, with the Texans having the game in hand, him along with Laremy Tunsil, I wonder if those guys actually hurt or if it was more precautionary for next week. Because as we look at the AFC playoff picture, now this is still, we're filming while the Steelers are playing the Seahawks, while Cincy is playing the Chiefs. So not everything is updated to the fullest. But as we take a look right here, the Texans 9-7, the Colts 9-7. Texans control their own destiny. If they win, they're in. Got to give it up for the Texans. Got to give it up for this squad and their resiliency, because this next matchup up against the Colts is going to be a doozy. Time TBD. We'll probably see later on tonight what time they're going to play on January 7th. But, hey, this is a pseudo playoff game for the Houston Texans. It's basically a playoff game. If you win, you keep on going. If you lose, your season is over. So let me ask you this. Next week, Week 18. How are we feeling, folks? What's your confidence level in the Texans against the Colts? 1, no confidence. You're like, we're going to lose this game. Might as well not even show up. 10, you are 100% confident in your boys in the red, blue, and white. Give it to me down in the comment section. I'm going to be looking. What's your confidence level in the Texans against the Colts this next week? Now, for me personally, I'm at a solid 8. I watched the Texans game. I watched the Colts game. The Colts struggled with the Raiders, barely beating them out. The Raiders, they gave up a lot of chances against the Colts. They could have very easily won that game, where the Texans, I think they're hitting the right stride. C.J. Stroud, I just believe in him so much. The most faith I've had in any quarterback, even Deshaun Watson. I'll say the boogeyman's name, even Deshaun Watson. I have more faith in C.J. Stroud than I do Deshaun Watson, and I think you should too, because the amount of poise, the amount of leadership, the amount of skills that this guy possesses as a rookie leaps and bounds beyond any Texans quarterback I have ever seen in my lifetime. And, you might be thinking, Jeremy, how old are you? Well, I've been around for the entire Texans' existence. So, I feel pretty confident saying C.J. Stroud is the best quarterback, and barring injury, will be the best quarterback in Texans franchise history. You heard me right, folks. And this next weekend, I really do believe the Texans are going to be in the playoffs, possibly in a game against the Jacksonville Jaguars. What a matchup in the first round of the playoffs. Texans, Jags, and AFC South matchup. We know how the Texans and Jags go down. Texans whooped up on them in the first matchup, and then the Jags barely etching out the Texans from a kick that hit the crossbar away from being an overtime game in that one. They barely escaped Houston with the victory. So it should be very interesting to see if both those teams make it, who will win the rubber match, the third matchup between the Texans and the Jags this year. Now, I'm about to let you go. Almost done with the video, but I just need to ask you, how are you feeling? Will the Texans make the playoffs? Yes or no? It's just a simple question. I want to know. If your confidence level is high, it should be yes. But where do you sit? Will the Texans make the playoffs? Yes or no? Let me know down in the comment section. And as always, follow me on Twitter at Jeremy Chuggs if you haven't already. More Texans news and rumors, NFL news and rumors, the dankest memes on the internet. It's over at Jeremy Chuggs. And don't forget, subscribe to the channel, because we could have a watch party for this next week up against the Colts. So stay tuned. Let's go Texans.